Hello and welcome to my video for UFC 235. And also at the end of the video I'll be covering boxing related news, but that's not the first thing we're going to talk about. So let's talk about the main event first. Woodley versus Usman. To me this isn't a particularly interesting main event. I'm not particularly interested in seeing Tyron Woodley fight. I mean, maybe this fight will be really good, but I don't know. He's kind of annoying, and so's Usman. As people like, so I don't really. It'll be a good fight, but come on, Woodley's gonna win. Woodley's gonna win. There's no argument. I mean, maybe Usman will surprise us, but I think Woodley's definitely a strong favourite for an obvious reason. He's possibly the greatest welterweight of all time. Maybe better than GSP. Maybe. I mean, GSP came back at middleweight to avoid him. So, but you know, there are lots of other interesting fights on this card. So let's go to the co-main event, which is Smith versus Jones. I mean, this is also a kind of one-sided fight, but Anthony Smith does a lot of things that I think can trouble Jon Jones, like that big, he's a strong Muay Thai style striker, and I think that might give Jones some problems. But I think that the all likelihood is he'll wrestle him down to the ground. And to be fair, Anthony Smith's defensive wrestling now is pretty good. I mean, if you watch some of his old fights at middleweight, it's not so great, but now it's pretty good. It's got pretty good defensive wrestling, so that'll be interesting. Like that's the main fight I'm interested in on the card. Lawler versus Askren. I mean, the MMA media doesn't seem to be showing this as a one-sided fight, but I think it's a one-sided fight. I mean, Ben Askren, like Robbie Lawler. People say, "Oh yeah, he's only 32. He's not old. He's not washed up," but he's taken a lot of damage. He's definitely not the athlete that he once was. I don't think his defensive wrestling is going to be good enough to defend against Askren, and I don't think his jiu-jitsu is going to be good enough. So I think he's going to get him on the ground. He's either going to submit him or he's going to beat him up. And to be honest, maybe it's time that Robbie Lawler retires. I don't want to see Robbie Lawler get beaten up anymore. Like, he's definitely from that old post-USADA. I'm not accusing him of taking steroids, but as far as time frames go, he's definitely not part of the new generation of fighters. So I think maybe it's like BJ Penn. I want to see him retire. I mean, I have a lot of respect for him. He was the greatest, in his period, he was one of the greatest welterweights of his period. But yes, I think he should be retired now. Maybe he'll lose and he'll be retired. Well, maybe he'll surprise us. I mean, Robbie Lawler is a very, very good striker. I mean, he's not as good as he once was, in my opinion, but he can definitely knock people out. So if he's able to keep Lawler off him, then he'll just punch him. Then that's fucking terrifying. I mean, he's a fucking scary striker. I mean, he's by no means the best in the division. So this is I think it's a really good litmus test for how good Askren really is. I mean, we all know he's good. He's an Olympic. I think he's an Olympic standard wrestler. He's won 2 NAACP championships. I know that for sure. So maybe maybe Lawler will surprise us, but I think this is basically a good litmus test for Askren more than anything else. Zabit's fighting on this card. Poor Jeremy Stephens. Oh, I feel bad for him. I would not want to be Jeremy Stephens. Zabit, and I think a lot of people are just assuming this is hype because he's from Dagestan and Khabib's from Dagestan. They're not similar fighters in any way. But like Zabit, his Muay Thai is world class. Like, it's really good. Like, I think he could probably fight in a kickboxing organisation. That's how good his Muay Thai is. Like, if you watch it, like, he's a very creative striker for one. He's kind of like a Conor McGregor's a counter striker. He's kind of like a striker. He's got that same creativity that Conor McGregor had, but at different points in the fight. I don't remember what other fights I was interested in. Oh, how can I forget about this? Cody Garbrandt versus Pedro Munoz. I hope Cody wins. I mean, I like Cody. He seems like a nice guy, and I want good things for him. But Pedro Munoz is a fucking scary fighter. Would not want to be fighting Pedro Munoz. I think Pedro Munoz, he's one of the most underrated fighters in the whole UFC right now, along with Zabit. Because no one talks about Zabit that much. He doesn't speak English, blah blah. But I think that this is kind of a weird UFC card because it's so one-sided. Like all the big fights in it look very one-sided, which means I think obviously in one of those fights we're gonna get an upset. I would imagine that's just the way it tends to be. But I've not bought the pay-per-view for this. It just doesn't interest me enough to buy the pay-per-view. That there's no fight in there that I really want to see. They're fucking expensive. They're like 50 quid for a UFC pay-per-view. I don't want to pay that. Fuck off. But I'll watch the undercard. That would be on Fight Pass. It'll be good. Which I think that's stupid. But let's not talk about Fight Pass right now. Let's talk about the USADA testing issues with Jon Jones, where he's tested positive again, and that's just okay. He's allowed to do it for some reason. And then there's all these explanations. If he'd taken it, then it wouldn't be in his system. It'd be in his system for a number of weeks. So you can go watch the interview yourself, make your own opinion. What's that bald guy? Jeff Nowitzki. But I really have it. It's strange that he's now got more picograms. I mean, they aren't only picograms, but I think it's a strange situation. I'm not a fucking expert. But it's like I heard like he always sounds like a criminal. Like it's a strange situation. But I'm not an expert, so I can't really say one way or the other. Like all these MMA media giving their opinion. Oh, blah blah. Like Brandon Schaub coming out and saying all this thing. Oh, fuck off, Brandon Schaub, you fucking prick. He's such a knobhead. Like he was talking about it, and it's just like, shut up. You clearly know nothing. Like I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm just gonna assume what the science is true. 'Cause I don't fucking know. I have no reason to assume what they're saying isn't true. Like USADA catch people cheating in other big sports. Like why would they be getting bribes for this one? I mean, I guess gambling and blah blah, but it's just that seems like a strange situation. And the last thing to talk about I should have covered this already. I mean, I've been meaning to make a video all week. I've been meaning to make a video straight after the news came out, but I've been busy, and I've been like, by the time it's like a good time to make videos, I've been too tired to. So let's talk about it now. So Tyson Fury's moved to ESPN. So basically, Deontay Wilder, while officially not at Showtime, and I think what's their network? I don't live in the States, so I don't know. Oh no, Showtime's not the promoter. PBC's the promoter, and Showtime's the network. Mm-hmm. Anthony Joshua's signed with DAZN and Sky Sports in the UK. I think that the Wilder fight isn't going to happen, but it's not. Surely it was going to happen down the road. The only problem is with co-promoting can happen here. The only problem with co-promoting is with Anthony Joshua because he's signed to DAZN, and the promoters aren't going to want to do co-promotion with DAZN because then no one will buy the pay-per-view from them because the DAZN prescription for the whole month will be cheaper than buying the pay-per-view. I think the whole pay-per-view model in the United States is dead, to be honest. Like you just can't charge $50 to $100 a pay-per-view. Like how can that happen? You're not gonna make your money there. Like you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And it's like doing the really expensive tickets, and then only going to like Madison Square Garden being the biggest venues, which is a big venue. But why do you never see fights in stadiums? This is a strange thing to me in the States. Do you not have enough people to fill a stadium? Like, surely you do. Surely Canelo can fill a stadium. But whatever. It's whatever. And DeGale Eubank happened. I I wasn't particularly interested in that fight. I thought DeGale would win. He didn't. Eubank won. DeGale didn't look particularly good. I'm trying to think back to the fight, but it wasn't really, to me, it wasn't really Eubank winning. It was more DeGale losing. I mean, Eubank was doing some good things, breaking guards. You know, it was definitely winning the fight, and he was doing some good things, but it wasn't particularly anything special. But I think Eubank can get back to the world scene now, and either at middleweight or super middleweight, do make moves. If he's got the right training, he's clearly got power, he's clearly got natural talent. There's no reason why he can't go back to middleweight or super middleweight and really make some power moves, especially with quite a few people in the super middleweight division moving up. Most notably Callum Smith. I don't really think he can make some headway. He's kind of coming to the tail end of his career. I mean, maybe not. You know, think how long George Foreman boxed for, but oh well. I was watching some old George Foreman fights this morning. I was like, wow. And it made me think about Deontay Wilder, and this is get off topic. It made me think about how people like. I watched the fight, and then I watched some like it was like a sports show. I can't remember, some American show, and they were saying how George Foreman's he's sloppy. He's a sloppy fighter, but he actually, if you look at George Foreman, the way he fought, like he even in his younger days, he wasn't a bad technical fighter. He had a unique style that it didn't look technically very good. It didn't look like boxing. It was more of an old school style, but it worked. And the reason it worked was because he was very technically proficient. And I think Deontay Wilder doesn't get the credit he deserves, in a way. I mean, I don't think he would beat the other fighters, but it's just I'm kind of bored of hearing about how shit Deontay Wilder is at this point. I mean, I don't think would beat Anthony Joshua, but if you look at the way he splits guard and then lands that right hand and keeps his power and keeps his cardio up, that's kind of impressive. I mean, I definitely think, I don't know, my problem with Deontay Wilder is more him personally, to be honest. I don't think he can beat. I think he's out if you had to go think of Dillian White, Chisora, Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. I think he's the worst. But I mean, I just hear some ridiculous things. People talking about how people that aren't even ranked inside the top 10 could beat Deontay Wilder. That's just not true. Don't say that. That's just not true. You make yourself sound less credible when you say stuff like that because it's so obviously not true. But this is the end of the video because I'm really rambling on. I will be making another video after UFC's happened. I think that's the next time I'm making a video. Unless there's some major developments in boxing and news. And even then I probably won't make a video because I'm fucking lazy. But bye. You know, please like, subscribe. Bye.